So in the previous video, I left off showing the simulation here, this gizmo. I changed the snake status from healthy to disease, and we ran the simulation and saw how that affected the populations. So in part of the work for you guys to finish off this week, you're going to be asked to do the same thing with the rabbits. So you can change the rabbits to diseased and run the simulation, as well as the hawk. So have the hawk diseased and then run the simulation, see how the populations are affected. I'll show you one more time using the grass. So I'll change the grass to diseased. To get the graph here that I have, that's on the final tab at the top. So I can actually choose from a graph or a bar chart or a table. It'll show numbers on this table. But I think picking the graph gives you the best visual of what goes on with the populations. Okay, so what happens to all the populations when we have the grass diseased? I'll hit play. You can see immediately that everything starts falling, and it looks like they're not going to go back up to 100. It looks like they're going to stay down there. Okay, you can zoom out. So this plus and minus sign here, zoom in and zoom out. I'll zoom out and keep this going. Let's see if they can make a recovery. And it looks like it's not. It looks like it's just going to stay down there most of the time. Okay, so introducing a disease to the ecosystem, it can be a long-term effect. It might force the ecosystem to find a new equilibrium. Okay, if it's a disease that kind of comes back and it doesn't go away. If it goes away, maybe things can recover back to normal, but not in this case. And by affecting the grass, well, the grass is the producer, right? It's at the bottom of the food chain, and so it's going to affect everything above it. Okay, well, less grass means less food for the rabbits. So some rabbits will starve and there'll be less rabbits. And then that's less prey for the snakes. So there's going to be less snakes, which means that's less prey for the hawks. So there's going to be less hawks. So if you, like the producer is kind of really, really important in a food chain. That's what it's trying to show. They're all important, but getting rid of the producer makes everything go down. All right, the last thing that I'll show that you may be asked to do is analyze a food web. Okay, so in that simulation, that was just a food chain. Well, what about a food web? What happens if you take away one species suddenly? So this question says, in the food web shown, suppose that the penguin population were to suddenly leave. Name at least 2 species that would benefit and 2 species that would be harmed due to this change, and provide a logical reason. And I put the last part in red because that's really important. That's how I'm going to mark you if you're right or wrong, is if you provide a logical reason to your answer. So here's the penguin. So if for some reason they all decide to leave this ecosystem, we have to predict 2 species that might benefit because of that, and 2 species that might be harmed due to that. Well, I'm going to start simple and start with things close to the penguin on the food chain. So I'll start with the squid here. So I see an arrow from the squid to the penguin. That means that the squids normally get eaten by penguins. So if we take away the penguins, then the squid might benefit. The squid population will probably go up because it's got less predators now. Okay, so that's my logical reason for why I think the squid population increases, is because it has less predators. And then I'll focus now on the elephant seal. The elephant seal, which is right beside the penguin. Now look, the elephant seal also eats squid. So if the penguin's gone, the penguin the penguin was like its competition. Right? The penguin was like its competition. So with less competition, the elephant seal might benefit. Okay, so its population might increase. Okay, so that's what I mean by giving a reason. So this reason was there's less competition. Now I'm going to look towards the leopard seal. The leopard seal. The leopard seal, I'm going to say, is going to be harmed. I think if the penguins leave, that's going to be a bad thing for the leopard seal. And I'll give two reasons for that. One is because penguins were one of its food sources. Okay, the arrow here shows that leopard seals eat penguins. So if one of the food sources is gone, then the leopard seal will be harmed. But a second reason would actually be because of the killer whale. So the killer whale eats elephant seals, penguins, and leopard seals. So if we take away the penguin, that means the killer whale is going to focus on the other two. So that would be a bad thing for the leopard seal. So it's like a double whammy. They have less penguins to eat, plus the killer whales are now going to hunt them more. So I'm going to say that the leopard seal population gets harmed. All right. Now I need to pick one more that might benefit. All right. What might benefit? Well, let's keep going along this line here. So if there's going to be fewer leopard seals, if the leopard seals are going to get harmed, that means that the seagull and the fish might benefit a little bit, okay? Because if there's going to be fewer leopard seals, then the seagull and fish, since they get eaten by leopard seals, they're probably going to have fewer predators, okay? So I'll say that the seagull will benefit a little bit if the penguins were to go away. So there's an example there of making predictions of what might happen to certain animals if a different one gets affected in the food web. Okay, it's not good enough to just say if it's benefiting or if it's harmed. You must provide a matching reason for it as well. Okay, so now I'll let you go off and practice. You can open the Google Doc and answer the questions there, and you'll be done for the week.